Before we move on, we should address the water chip. But what is a water chip? It is a large circuit board with vacuum tubes and regulates the filtration systems inside the water purifier and monitors the output for signs of radiation. While the water chip can be jury-rigged for small-scale water purification, it is specifically designed to interface with vault computers, making it useless for large-scale water purification. But what does it plug into? The closest thing I can find to something you may recognize is something called reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis utilizes a semi-permeable membrane to separate water molecules from other substances. The first functional synthetic reverse osmosis membrane was developed by Sidney Loeb and Srinivasa Surirajan in 1959. The first commercial reverse osmosis plant was built in Coalinga, California in 1965. This marked the beginning of large-scale applications of the technology, which has since evolved to become a critical tool for water purification and desalination. To put it briefly, reverse osmosis filters out radioactive particles from water effectively, but it does not remove radiation itself. Instead, it targets radionuclides like uranium, radium, and cesium, blocking them from passing through the semi-permeable membrane. Studies show that reverse osmosis can remove up to 99% of these contaminants, making it highly effective for producing clean water. The radioactive particles that are filtered out end up concentrated in the waste brine, which requires careful disposal to prevent environmental harm. The technology doesn't neutralize radiation, but rather separates the radioactive materials from the water, leaving the filtered water relatively safe for consumption. It's an impressive feat of engineering, but is incredibly difficult to upkeep. Considering this was invented long before any bombs were dropped, it isn't unreasonable to assume the Fallout universe has a better version for their vaults. In a pre-apocalyptic world, the applicable science, handling, and manufacturing are difficult enough. In a post-apocalyptic society with limited industry and everything tainted by radiation, it would be nearly impossible. It is possible. A miniaturized version of this technology is what the lone survivor employs, simplified to streamline gameplay or reflect technological advancement. Though it is more likely Bethesda didn't think them through at all, or how each one passively desalinates the water, or what the consequences of having access to large-scale water purifiers can do to lore. But we'll get to that. There are well over 100 vaults in America, each with their own purifiers. Gaining access to the water purifier in the vault is one thing, but maintaining it is a whole canyon of other problems. Though it did take 200 years for Vault 13's chip supply to run out, that's for a highly controlled, highly secure vault population. If a much larger population of organized individuals, like the NCR, got a hold of such a vault, they would demand water for their much larger surface population, thus burning out the chips faster. The Enclave, the Institute, and the She are obviously capable enough of replicating the technology. The Brotherhood of Steel are not quite as technologically advanced, but it probably isn't beyond them. At an even further stretch, maybe the followers of the Apocalypse, or another equally technologically minded faction could replicate a cruder version of this technology. But definitely not the New California Republic. There is no evidence of the NCR having the technological knowledge to replicate them. Speculation on NCR capability makes things worse for them, as seemingly all of their advances are the fruits of the followers' labors. The Legion hardly need be addressed. After all, it's not just understanding how the machine works. It's reproducing it capacitor by resistor, thermometer by barometer, steel bar by drill bit. It's not just the knowledge of the part, but how the part it made. What constitutes the composite? What produces the polymer? How is the metal made? Even if you understand how to use the thing and have access to one, this isn't enough. I understand how a pen works and possess many, but how exactly do I make one? Understanding how something works and knowing how to build that something are two different things, made infinitely more difficult in a world where anything that works is scrapped to fix other things that are beginning to not work. There are no new factories. Manufacturing reclamation is rare and grossly exaggerated. The NCR is a short-lived reprieve on an ever-thinning piece of string. Even after 200 years, things keep falling apart. If the world of Fallout continues down this path, the very concept of chemical and industrial technologies might just fall into myth. America, potentially the only habitable place left on Earth, could well be facing the worst possible fate humanity could suffer. A permanent dark age. But what if the vaults and their water chips aren't the only salvation in the wasteland? What if, instead of 200 years of choking down radioactive dust, there was an oasis of clean water that all of America could enjoy? What if Obsidian made a lore mistake so terrible that it threatens every historical moment, from the second the bombs fell until the proverbial end of time to this day? Despite it being agonizingly obvious, I feel like I'm the only one who has ever noticed. I have only one more video left for you. Then, when you truly understand the depth of how bad this is, will I finally tell you. The Dam Incident.